Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Jessica Fettridge. I am a Senior Associate Director in the Global Learning Office. I am joined by my colleague Lauren Yearman. She is the advisor for programs in Asia in the Global Learning Office, and Professor Li Chenggu, who is the director of the program and has worked with our programs in China for how long? More than 20 years at this point, right?
23 years.
23 years. Okay. So we have a handful of slides about the program. We'll give you a brief overview and then we'll have plenty of time for questions. If you can all mute your microphones, that would be great.
In the center, it's like
Okay. All right, so I will get started. So welcome. We're here to talk about the Wanxiang Fellows Program, Modern China and Emerging Technologies. So the program team, some of us are here. As I mentioned, Professor Gu is the director of the program. He will be with the group the entire time in both Beijing and Hangzhou. In Beijing, for the History 381 course that will be taught by Professor Peter Carroll from the History Department. And then the ISIN 350 course in Hangzhou will be taught by Professor Zhang Wang from McCormick. And then the GLOW team, as I mentioned, is me and Lauren. If you will want to schedule an advising appointment, that one will be with Lauren, and she can answer most of your questions. Okay. So an overview, this is a 4-week program. It starts mid-June on June 16th. That is the arrival day in Beijing. And then it goes until July 13th, where you will leave from Shanghai. So the program does move around a little bit. The first 2 weeks are spent in Beijing. That is the first history course taught by Professor Carroll. Toward the end of the time in Beijing, the group will be joined by students from Wanxiang Polytechnic for a 3-day Beijing seminar. That'll be some talks, some joint excursions with the group, and then everyone will travel together and by train to Hangzhou for the last 2 weeks of the program, where you'll take the ISIN course at Hangzhou Polytechnic, right? Wancheng Polytechnic? Yes, sorry. Thank you. And do excursions in and around that area, take the train to Shanghai for a day, spend the night there, and then fly back to the States from there. It's 2 Northwestern courses, so you will receive full Northwestern credit. Grades will count and factor into your Northwestern GPA. And then the program theme is all about modern Chinese history and renewable energy, while obviously exposing you to Chinese language and culture while you are there. There is no language requirement for this program. Both courses are taught in English. Here's just a brief overview of the courses that you will be taking. Professor Gu, anything you want to add about the courses?
For the Beijing course, Modern China, will try to take you to some sites to see the real China in person. That is something that you don't get to see in Evanston. So that means we're going to take you to Tiananmen Square, where so many important events happen in history and in current modern times. And we're also going to take you to some museums where you're going to see some of those, historical relics that played a very important role in the Chinese modern history. And we are also going to take you to ByteDance company, which is the mother company of TikTok, which will disappear in the United States, but it will be in China. And of course, in Beijing, we will also get to meet the students from Peking University and talk to them and see what you can learn from them, the best students in China. So that's in Beijing. And then in Hangzhou, you will spend more time with the Wanxiang Polytech College. And you are basically matched one by one. And then you will become friends with them and travel around Hangzhou with them and have a lot of activities, like the tea ceremony, like go to the West Lake and everything. And of course, in Hangzhou, you are also going to visit some corporations. I mean some big companies. For example, the place where electric cars are made, where those huge batteries for store energy are made. You might go to if the time allows, it will also go to a nuclear power plant. So all these things are all related to the icing cores, the new energy. So remember, you are going to see something in person that you don't get to see in the United States if you take the course in China. And of course, before you leave for China, you will be also bused to uh, the suburbs of Chicago and see one of the plants where solar panels are being manufactured for the United States market. So that is also something that you will need to do before you go. And then after you come back for the Eisen course, you will be divided into groups and you will report one of the new energy that you want to talk about. For example, whether you want to talk about the clean coal, the wind power, solar panels, nuclear, whatever. So you will be make a great presentation on a certain subject area in fall. Yes.
Great, thank you. So you already mentioned a lot of the excursions here, but here's a list of some, not all of them, that we wanted to highlight. Okay, housing and meals. So in Beijing, you will live in the International Student Dormitory on the Peking University campus. You'll have a private room with a shared common area with another student. All rooms are fully furnished and come with pillows, blankets, sheets, and all of that. They are air conditioned, which is very important because it's pretty hot in China over the summer. And there is also a laundry facility, so you can do your laundry while you're there. In Hangzhou, you'll live in the student residences on the campus of Wanxiang Polytechnic. These will be double rooms, and you'll be placed with another Northwestern student in your room. For meals, group lunches are provided each weekday in Beijing, either on the excursions or true group meals, or as a credit to your university ID card, you can eat on campus with that. And then everyone's responsible for breakfast and dinners. I believe some of the meals are also included in Hangzhou as well. Is that right?
Uh, I believe Beijing is a little bit different from
Correct.
Hangzhou. Okay, now in Beijing, you stay in a international student dormitory. That is the global village. It is called a village, but actually it is like a resort. The the breakfast is not included because we want you to have a freedom to go around and pick up some snacks on the in the nearby restaurants or on the street, and the food there is quite good. And then for lunch, of course, you can go to their cafeterias, and their cafeterias are, I would say, 50 times as big as Sargent or anywhere else. Four floors of a big building, uh, feeding people. So you can imagine that you have all kinds of local delicacies for you to enjoy for your lunch. Yeah, so that's meals and housing. But then in Hangzhou, it will be somewhat like a double room, standard room hotel. So the meals, you don't have much freedom to go out of the campus to find your breakfast. Usually not. And everything is already in the hotel building. So you don't need to worry about the food.
Great, thank you. Okay, so this is very important. This program is uh, funded primarily by a grant from the Wanxiang America Corporation. So the program fee is very, very low. It's only $1,000, and that includes tuition, housing, airfare, visa fees, the weekday lunches in Beijing, train from Beijing to Hangzhou, all the excursions, and stuff that you will be doing on site. And we're estimating that the full cost of attendance is around 1650, which is quite low for a 4-week program and 2 credits over the summer. So we just really want to highlight the low cost of this program. Um, and
Yeah, if I can jump in here,
yeah,
I told my students that who are taking classes with me, and I would go to talk to my parents and ask them, hey, do you want me to save you some money to get those two same credits?
yeah,
If you get those two same credits taught by the same professors, in China now, it will be so much cheaper than the same two same credits taught by the two same professors in Evanston. It will be only a fraction of what you pay in Evanston. That's really because of the generosity from the this trustee who is supporting Northwestern's study abroad program. So we are very grateful to his generosity.
yes, extremely grateful. Yeah, and the full cost of attendance is about the same as a plane ticket total. So, and that includes all the things you see there, plus everything you're doing on site. So it really is a very cost-effective way to get 2 credits. One thing I do want to mention about the history course is that it counts as a history foundational discipline as well as the global perspectives overlay. So that's something to keep in mind with that course in particular. Okay, so if you are interested in applying for the program, there is a QR code that'll link you to the application there. You'll log into the portal. You can search for the program and hit apply now. It'll take you directly to the application. The deadline is February 1st. That's coming up in about almost exactly 2 weeks at this point. You can see a overview of the application requirements there. It is not very time intensive. Most things you can get done in an afternoon, including the personal statement. The one thing that I will encourage you to do right now is to set up a meeting with your school advisor if you have not done so already. That is a required component of the application. And as you can imagine, many other students are also trying to study abroad and apply by February 1st. So their calendars are filling up really quickly. So please schedule that appointment to discuss the program and your options with your school advisor now so that you're not butting up against that deadline too hard. Okay, right, February 1st, hard deadline, okay? And that's it. Anything else you want to add? We'll open it up for questions if not.
A question about the advisory board. Would that be like our, for instance, for Weinberg, our Weinberg advisor, or
Yes, it's your Weinberg advisor if you're in Weinberg. If you're an SOC, it's your SOC advisor, so on and so forth. Yeah,
and
it's not a major advisor.
they need to like do something for the application?
Yeah, they have to give you electronic approval essentially, but most of them will not do that without having met with you beforehand to discuss the program and your
Okay.
options. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed a question from the chat, which is about the timing of the presentation at the in fall. We haven't really finalized the date, but usually it is in October when everybody is back, settled down. Then we'll find a room and invite some guests and the professors, and we sit together, and you and your two or three teammates will make a 15-minute presentation of your choice. In the past years, that is always the highlight because, after the 2 week study with the support of the professor, you can really learn so much and present to the whole group what you have learned from this course and this trip in China.
Yeah.
That's really something that you don't usually see uh, in the United States.
Yep. It the question is this has come up actually twice now today about students who may be graduating in June or over the summer, if they are eligible to apply. The short answer is yes, but you may not have already graduated and still participate on the program. If you apply and you are accepted, you would need to then delay your graduation until August in order to participate. What that means then for the final presentation in the fall is we would likely work something out with a video presentation or something. I asked Professor Wang about this earlier, and she said that that could be accommodated for students that participate who then graduate in August. So it's an option if you find yourself in that situation. Um,
Oh yeah, I want to emphasize that if I were you, if I were a senior, I really hate to miss the opportunity to walk on the stage at the graduation ceremony to receive my diploma together with another 3,000 friends. I want to be part of it. So for that case, technically, we can have that done because many students actually walking on the stage to receive that diploma actually is not there. It is only the cover. So uh, you can walk. You
Yeah,
can take that.
as long as graduation is before the program starts, and I'm not sure that that's true this summer. We'll have to see. If you find yourself in that situation, reach out and we can talk about details. Yeah, but I agree. You can walk if you're in the US. Will the slides be available to access? Yes. I will also share the recording with everyone here, and I will post it on the program brochure afterward as well. How competitive is the program? We're not sure yet. We can accept up to 20 students. So if we have more than 20 applications, it will be competitive. And if we have fewer than 20 applications, it will be less competitive. I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out after the deadline. But we have 20 spots for students. Other questions? That's a great question from the chat. So Wanxiang is subsidizing plane tickets. Is it on us to buy and arrange tickets to and from China? The answer is yes. So you will be responsible for purchasing your own plane ticket, and then you'll get a flight credit in Caesar to cover the cost. But there will be an upfront cost for the plane ticket. It's essentially you'll get paid back. Up to a certain amount, right? Like if you spend over the flight credit, that will be your responsibility. But it's a pretty generous flight credit from what I've seen.
So please don't fly a first class. Be reasonable.
Or if you want to, that's fine, but you'll have to make up the additional cost on your own. Yeah. And you'll get plenty of information about booking flights and where from and to and when and how much later in the process. Yeah.
A couple
Same
of
with
things.
visas
Oh,
will help you apply for your visa to go.
a couple of things before I let you go or have more questions. Um, China is amazingly safe. Anywhere in China is safer than anywhere in the United States. I'm not talking about that Professor Gu will be, with you 24/7. I'm talking about the environment is just safe. They have no guns, hardly any drugs, um, no violence. So you don't need to worry about the safety. Plus, the two cities are big cities, and they are very safe. And you'll be always, of course, with your friends. So uh, about the safety, that's one of the safest countries in the world. I wouldn't worry about the safety. And then as the intensity of the work, actually, I would put it this way. If you, if each quarter now is 100% of your energy, in summer, I would say it's about 80% of your energy because we do want to have some free time to really look around China, to be part of China, spending some time with the local people.
Yep. Okay, a couple more questions. Will this program continue to happen in the future? We hope so. So that's the plan. What type of visa is needed? You need like a standard entry visa, I believe. It's just a tourist visa.
Yes,
Yes,
it's a tourist visa.
yes. And does the process work differently for international students? Possibly. But we will work with you to determine how that goes. If needed. There's a consulate here. A lot of times they can still process visas for international students as well. And that cost is covered by the grant as well. So that is not an out-of-pocket cost, which is nice. Any other questions? Yes, you can apply for the 10-year visa. Graduate students are not eligible to apply. This is undergrad only.
Actually, I
Uh,
have a, I have a, oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I received this question from a student last week. They were asking what the actual class hour, like what the schedule is, basically what the class hours are. I know you said it's about, 80% of your energy required, so you'll have time to explore, but the student was just really curious about, how much time will I have to explore outside of class?
Oh, that's a great question. Now, first of all, in Peking University, the class starts at 9 o'clock and then run all the way to 11:30 or so. So it's about 2 hours and a half in the morning. And then after that, we go to have lunch. And then in the afternoon, we might have some days we have excursion trips, like to go to the military museum or to the party school or to uh, a to a company that sometimes, not every day. So after the morning class and the afternoon sessions sometimes, and then basically you have your whole evenings free for you to take the subway, beautiful and clean and safe, much better than what we have in the L or the subways in New York. And then you go to downtown and everything. So you can do a lot of things together with your friends. Uh, as for the reading, is kind of not that much. Professor Peter Carroll is a great guy. You will love him very much, and he is very knowledgeable. Oh, I want to add a few words about some of you might be learning Chinese. That is a big plus. You might practice your Chinese with the locals. When you go shopping and socializing with the locals. This is the great time for you to use what you have learned from your classrooms. Yes.
Yep. Thanks. And good question, Lauren. That's great. Another question in the chat about the Glow application. Student raised their hand for the school advisor approval and Connect and You. Does that mean they received an appointment request automatically, or do you need to send an email? They do not receive an appointment request. They do get notified that you've raised your hand seeking approval for study abroad, but you'll need to email to set up an appointment separately. Good question. What are you looking for in the personal essay? Who's in charge of who gets admitted or not? Good question. The essay please don't stress about it. This is one thing that students really stress about, and you should not. It just is a way to explain why you're interested in doing the program, how it fits into your current and long-term academic, professional, personal goals. So making a case for yourself as to why you want to do the program, why you want to do it this summer, and why you would be a good fit for the group. Who's in charge of getting admitted? I'll review the applications, and the professors who are teaching will review as well, and we'll make a decision based on that.
Oh, actually, I do I have another question. Is the visit to the solar plant, um, that happens in spring, right? Do you know the date that that visit will happen, or do we not know yet?
We don't have that yet. Uh, uh, I hope that can be finalized soon.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
historically been in May, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, that trip is really very informational for you to learn. If you want to know anything about renewable energy, you want to know what we have on our side, what Chinese companies are doing in the suburbs of Chicago. See what they have. It is really very informational. You want to go there and see what is being manufactured, how those solar panels are being manufactured, and that will be quite an eye-opening experience. So I would look forward to it. I'll make the trip and see it, and then when you go to China, you will see something in much larger scale and see those great things that is being done. One time we were taken to a uh, a a company which manufactures the wind blades for the turbines. You see them in distance when you drive around, especially when we drive down south to Indiana and everything. You see them in distance. Oh, they're great. They're nice looking. But when you actually see it in person, lying down on the ground in the factory, you will see how small we are as a human being. Those big things are so gigantic, and you will be impressed by what you see over there. You know, so I would really want to go out of our campus in Evanston and see what is being done to save our world, to save our Earth. Well, actually, Jessica and Lauren, some student asked me uh, about about the trip. I mean about the airfare.
Hmm.
Uh, So this student has got a return ticket from here, from Chicago and back to his home country already. So he wants to know whether, he could fly from his home country, which is much closer to China, to participate the event. So and then in that case, uh, could his new air ticket, let's say, from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, to Beijing and then return, how can that be arranged?
Yep. I mean, because everybody books their own flights and you can leave from wherever you are as long as you arrive in Beijing on the 16th. Um, it doesn't really matter where you're coming from. Although that's quite a quick turnaround, I think, because classes end a little bit later this year. Um, and same thing on the return, right? If you want to stay in China longer, if you want to travel around the region, you can return whenever you want. So you can book your flight for whatever dates as long as you are where you need to be for the program during those dates. You can do whatever you want before and after. And but the flight credit will remain the same, right? Regardless of where you're flying from. So it won't increase or decrease. It's the same amount for every student, and you can book your airfare based on that.
Are you saying that, are you really saying that if I fly from Bangkok to Beijing, I almost can fly first class because the credit is quite high, right?
Yes?
Ooh, okay. I'll think about that.
If you're already going to be in Bangkok, sure.
But my home is in
Yeah,
Bangkok.
yeah.
And I
I
have
mean,
already
then it's,
got my return ticket from Chicago to Bangkok. I'll
yeah,
go home first, drop my luggage,
yeah,
and then fly. Then I need a new ticket, of course, from Bangkok to Beijing.
yeah, sure.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. The flight credit only the flight credit is a static amount. I need to look up how much it is. Um, So everyone will get the same amount of flight credit. For math purposes, I'm going to say it's $1,500, but I believe it's actually more than that. So everyone will get a flight credit of $1,500. If you book your flight and it is 1,300, great, you made $200. If it is 1,700, then you'll have to cover that additional expense for yourself. So you can keep that in mind when you are okay, 2,250. See, it's even more than I thought. So it's quite generous, the flight credit. It does not cover only leaving from Beijing. Again, you need to get to Beijing on June 16th, and you need to the program ends in Shanghai on July 13th. What you do after July 13th is totally up to you. Many students will then return back to Chicago or wherever home is for you. Some will choose to stay longer. It's up to you, but you'll book your flights with those dates in mind, and then and the flight credit in mind. There, I promise we'll provide like lots of instructions for what you need to do once we have the group accepted to the program.
Well, I want to calm people down a little bit when you hear the word, when you hear the figure, $2,250 for the flight. Don't be too happy about it because during the summertime, during the busy season, the the air tickets will be more expensive than now.
Yeah.
Okay, don't be too happy about it.
Right. It seems like a lot, but my guess is that number is based on how much it actually costs to fly from the US to China over the summer. Yeah. But we'll give more direction um, in the spring.
Oh, and also, please be nice to Professor Gu when you make that when you purchase your air ticket. Make sure that your arrival time is not too odd, not too strange, because I do want to pick you up at the airport and at that day, on that day, the 15th or the 16th, I will be there. I'll be the first person to meet you, to be, I want to greet you and take you back to the hotel, to to the campus. I I want to do that. But just be mindful not to arrive at 1 o'clock in the morning. So just be reasonable, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, we'll provide some recommendations and recommended flights, and you can have access to the full group of students. So if you want to organize flight, going on the same flight there, so you all are arriving, or so some of you are at least are arriving at the same time, that will be possible as well, and preferable for Professor Gibb, as long as it's not at 1 in the morning. Another question related to scheduling in the chat. No, the full detailed schedule hasn't been released, and won't be for some time. But the important thing is the day, Monday, June 16th is the arrival day. That full day is set aside just for arrivals, right? There's no formal programming of any kind. So you can arrive at any point on the 16th, but keep in mind that the people are going to come pick you up. So if it's not in the middle of the night, that's preferable. So anytime on the 16th is good. If you have to arrive later than that, that would be a like special case approval because the
Yeah,
programming does
yeah.
start the next morning.
The you know, preferably that you will arrive in at in the midday of 16th, because I will have a bus with me to wait for you at the airport. Then I'll put you on the bus, then the bus will take you back home. And then I might be waiting at the airport for other people. But remember, things, unexpected things do happen, like the misconnections or technical issues, so the flight is delayed and everything. That those things all happen. We all understand. So if it is late, it is late. That's okay. But when you reserve your ticket, be mindful.
Yeah. All right, we'll hang out for a little bit if anybody else has other questions. Otherwise, thanks for joining. You can feel free to reach out via email. You can schedule an appointment with Lauren. You can reach out to Professor Gu or me with questions. Just keep in mind that February 1st deadline. The application closes at 11:59 p.m. So make sure to get it in, preferably before then if you can.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody.